Okay, so welcome back. Just a short recap of what we did last time. We discussed about PHP, the programming language. We installed PHP on our system, and we looked at the structure of PHP, how the code is structured. We looked at a few examples of how you can be able to embed PHP inside your HTML. And I think we also looked at things to do with variables. So we defined a few variables, we looked at variable assignments, and I think we completed that class by looking at what we call data types, right? So, yeah, so that's what we did last time. So today, I want us to look at what we call operators. So today, our main topic of discussion is going to be operators. Operators are basically things that are used to perform operations on variables and values. And they are categorized into various types. So I'm going to look at them in the order that is shown on the screen. So I'll start with what we call arithmetic operators. So arithmetic operators are used to perform arithmetic operations and they include things to do with addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and modulus. So let's look at how we work with these operators in PHP. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my Visual Studio Code. Actually, I think I should go to XAMPP over here. Then I'll create a folder here called HDocs here. I'll create a folder here called PHP intro. Then within this PHP intro, I'll open Visual Studio Code from here. Okay. I don't know why it's so slow today. Let us. Okay, let me give it a minute. Okay, so all right, so it has opened Visual Studio Code, and all right, so I don't know why it's so slow today. So I'll say open folder. Mobile. Now that is the problem. That is the problem. Mombasa hakuna haraka. So I'm trying to hurry it up. Now it knows very well that I'm not supposed to be in a hurry. Okay. So we said this is here intro. So remember, I said we could still execute PHP code inside HTML, but usually I would prefer to write my PHP code. So I'll say arith operators dot php. So and we said for us to be able to run PHP, we start with angle bracket, question mark, then the statement PHP. The ending doesn't matter, but for semantic purposes, I will end it correctly. Otherwise, I can just leave it blank and it will still be able to work. So today, I want us to discuss operators. And we said operators are the operators, sorry, we said operators are used to perform operations on variables and values. So they used to perform operations on values. So used to perform operations, used to perform operations on variables and values. And you have different categories. So I'll start with the first one, which is arithmetic operators. And these ones are used to perform arithmetic operations. Used for arithmetic operations. So let's say we want to add two numbers. We have two variables and want to add them up together. So I can declare here number one is equals to 1, 2, 3. Number two equals 4, 5, 6. Then I can simply say, well, put a semicolon here. Actually, it's not a very good idea. It should be like that. Then here I can simply say number three or answer is equals num1 plus num2. And of course, you have to make sure you put the variable signs over here, which is the dollar sign. Okay. So I can go here and say echo, and I simply say the sum of the first number and second number um, is the third number. Answer. So that should allow me to see that 1, 2, 3 plus 4, 5, 6 should be 975, should be 579. So what I would do is I would open my browser over here. Then I would run localhost PHP intro and then localhost PHP intro. Then I'll probably run here operators dot php. So, well, that did not come out well. Why is that the case? Hmm, let me see. Where's my virtual screen? My virtual, it's here. Let me see what I did. Hmm, well, because these things are numbers, let me put it like this, double quotes. Because they are numbers, double quotes is what will help me out. So you can see the sum of 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6 is 579, which is actually now correct, isn't it? So I just made a mistake. I like using single quotes, but in some scenarios, especially when you want to use variables within a string, you must make sure you use double quotes. Okay? So that is arithmetic. So let's look at the next one, which is subtraction. So that's addition. That's an addition operator. Then you have subtraction. And subtraction will just do the difference. It will subtract the two numbers. Actually, let me just work out all of them. Let's say now the answer equals num1 minus num2. Then, of course, I'll output the difference between the two numbers. The difference between the difference of num1 and num2, then I'll give the answer over there. Come back to my user interface, click it. You can see the difference between 1, 2, 3, and 4, 6 is negative 333. I can try to make it look a little bit nicer by putting a line feed here. So once you're done, I can add here end of line. This is a constant showing us that we are now displaying a new line after we are done with that content. So PHP EOL signifies that it's the end of the line. So I think that should make it look a little bit nicer. So, well, that's strange. End of line. Yeah, that should look okay. Why is it not putting the end of line? Hmm. Okay. Anyway, by the way, why is it not putting end of line? That should give me a new line. That should give me a new line. That should give me a new line. New line. Okay. PHP EOL. Uh-huh. Anyway, let's not focus on that so much. So let's now do, this is subtraction. We can do multiplication, and we simply say the product of these two numbers, the product of number one and number two is answer. So answer is answer times number one times number two. And of course, we can do the division. What do we call division? Because sum is addition, difference is subtraction, product is multiplication. What do we call division? Quotient. Okay. Yeah, then we can deal with the remainder. So this will be the divide sign you use that, the divide sign you use that particular slash. Then of course, if you want to work with the remainder, we're going to use the modular sign, which is now the percentage. Okay? So the remainder of dividing number one and two is, so I'll be able to perform these arithmetic operations. So there's addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and of course modulus down here, which gives us the remainder after dividing the first number with the second number. Whatever does not go in it fully is what I get over there. So I'll run that, and you can be able to see the sum is 456, it's 579. This is 3333. The sum is 560. The quotient is zero point 0.2. Then, of course, the Nini is 123. So the remainder of 456 should be 123. So, yeah, so you can be able to see it allows us to be able to perform those arithmetic operations. Why I'm not getting a new line, I still don't understand. Let me just check that again. It's PHP EOL, which is actually okay. It's actually okay. Let me just line 13. Uh, mm, PHP end of line. That's strange. Let me just let me see why that is not working. Because EOL means end of line, and I've used it several times, and it works. I don't know why now it's not. Maybe I can try the new line feed. New line feed is, I think that. Let me see if that works out. Even that's not working out. I don't know why. For some strange reason, my feet are not working. But I think I would not focus so much on the new line. Let me focus mostly on the operation that you want to do at hand. So those are the arithmetic operations that we have. So I think there's no question up to that point, right? So let's look at the other. Yes. Mm-hmm. 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 Now, if I want to get the quotient alone as a number, what I would do is I would round this one to the next decimal place, to zero decimal places. That would give me the quotient without the decimal points. Okay. So I'll just divide them, then I round the number. It will round it. Actually, is it floor? There's floor. Eh? There is floor. Because round, if it is 5.9, it will give you 6. I think it's floor. Sorry. Yeah, it's floor, not round. Floor will give you the number, the lowest whole number. So if it is 1.8, it will give you 1. Okay? So as you can see, floor returns the next lowest integer value by rounding down the number if it is necessary. And of course, the opposite is the ceiling. We're going to look at functions later. Ceiling will round up the number. Okay, so we can use floor and it's seal, not ceiling. So there's floor and there's seal. Okay, so seal for ceiling, floor for floor. But for our case, we wanted to use floor. Will give us the question. So those are functions. We're going to look at functions later on. For now, I think today we wanted to focus on operators. So those are arithmetic operations. Operators. So let's look at now what we call logical operators. I think on my slides, let me just refer to that. We have assignment operators. Let me look at assignment operators first. So the second one is assignment operators. So assignment operators are the ones that we use to assign values to a variable. And for example, we have just used one over here. Number is equals to 1 to 3. So it means you are assigning this value 1 to 3 to a variable called number. So that's an example of assignment operator. So there's equal to sign, which you have seen, e.g x is equals to 456, something of that. So this equal to sign here is used for that operation. Then of course we have others, which is what I want us to discuss next. So for the assignment operators, we have the sorry. So for assignment operators, we have what we call the combination operators. So for example, um, let's say I want to say x is equals to x plus y. Where is my code window? So let's say uh, x is equals to x plus y. So what I could do, I could write this one as let x, actually let is not allowed here. So the variable x is equals to 6. Then I want to increment x by x plus 7. So I could simply say here x is equals to x plus 7, isn't it? Then down here I can put echo the value of x. The value of x is um, x. So the value of x here, the variable is x. Okay. So here I'm going to expect 6 plus 7, which is 13. So I've forgotten the dollar sign here. So down here, I'm going to expect x was 6. Then I said x is x plus 7. So here I'm expecting x to be 13. So let's run that and see if x becomes 13. Well, by number 34, I think is semicolon. I get hung up with the semicolons very, very often nowadays. I don't know why, but maybe I'll just recover from that. So you can see x is now 13. Okay, that's special. Now, besides assigning these operators like that, we have these other assignment operators that look like this. So instead of saying x is equals to x plus 7, I can say x plus equals to 7. Okay? This is an example of an arithmetic operator. So you can see still is 13. Okay? So this is also an example of an assignment operator. So and it works on all arithmetic operations. So I can put minus, that will give me -1. As you can see, that's okay. I can put something like times. That will be x is equals to x times 7. So 6 times 7 is supposed to give me 42. And you can see it's 42. And I can use all the other arithmetic operations that are there in place. Okay? And you can see it actually works out. So that is what we are referring to, what we are referring to as those are the ones we are referring to as assignment operators. Okay? Good. Let's move to the third portion, which is what we call comparison operators. So the third type of operators are comparison operators. So these types of operators are used to compare two values and will check whether the values are, whether it returns true or false. Okay. So, for example, we want to compare two variables. I'll say simply say here, maybe y, maybe a is equals to 16, and maybe b is equals to 21. So, if I want to check for equality, I will simply say echo maybe equality. Are they equal? Equality equals. Then I'll say a A is equal to, so when you use double two equal sign, it means you are doing a comparison. If you use one, you're using assignment. So this first portion here is assignment. This other portion here is a comparison. So I'll simply check A and B. So I'll say, uh, is A equal to B? So I'll simply say echo. Well, I can mask all these ones up here so that again they don't fill up my screen for no reason. So I'll simply say here echo a is equals to is equal to b. Then I'll say what is the answer? I'll say equality, isn't it? Because equality will either return true or false. Okay. So when I use that operator down here, I'm simply saying A is 16, B is 21, and I'm checking if A is equals to B, then that value, whether it's true or false, I'm storing it inside equality over here, then I'm outputting the results down here. So ideally, A is not equal to B, so I should say A is equals to B, that should be false. So I'll run that, and I'll say, is A equal to B? Why didn't I get a value? Equality. Um, Let me just try that out. But is it not? It's not giving me that. Why is that the case? It should give me true or false because A is not equal to B. That's false. Uh, this is strange. I believe it should have given me false. A is equal to B. A is not equal to B. Mhm. This is strange. So anyway, what I will do, I'll just simply say echo. Maybe combining it as a string is what is giving me an issue. Let me just echo this and see what it gives me. Um, I'll mask that because I was expecting that should give me false. Oh, that is not good. A is equals to B. Um, how about A is not equal to B? That's strange. It should either tell me true or false. 1. Okay, A is not equal to B is 1, but A is equals to B is 0. So I don't, I still don't understand why it's not giving me a value, but ideally I know that the value is false. So A is not equal to B, and A is greater than B, A is less than B. Let me just check that out. How about the other way around? So when it is 0, it's not showing anything. So what I would do here, I would simply, let me just use a logic so that it is able to check it for me. So I'll simply say here, we're going to do what we call control structures later on, but allow me to use one here so that we are able to tell the truth. So if that is true, I'll return yes. Otherwise, I'll return no. So what I've just done is this is a ternary operator. So if A is equals to B, it returns yes. If A is not equal to B, it returns no. So that we're now able to see this value on the screen. I was thinking it would be able to print for me true or false, but that's not the case. So let me just run that. So you can see is 16 equal to 21? You can see the answer is no. Okay. So we can look at all the other operators. So we have equality, which is this. Then we have greater than, less than, equal, not equal to, greater than or equal to, and so forth and so forth. So we can compare all the others like less than or equal to, greater than, greater than or equal to, not equal to. What else? Is there any other? I don't think there's any other. The one that I've done is just equal to. So I don't think there's either. It's either equal to, not equal to, greater than or equal to, greater than, less than or equal to, less than. So you can compare all those inside here and see how it works. So I can just go ahead and type them out down here. So um, I just echo. So here I'm looking at not equal to, not equal to. So I'll mask this. I'll say not equal to. So when I run it, I think it should give me yes. So it's not equal to 16 is not equal to 21. So that's true. Then we also have less than or greater than. So I just try less than, then we can carry on to something else. So let me talk about less than. So equality, A is less than B. So here I'll say A is less than. Then of course it should be able to give me a true value because 16 is less than 21, and you can see it works out. So when it comes to those comparison operators, you will probably use these five operators over here. Okay. So that's basically the comparison operators. That's the second category. The third category of operators is the where's my slideshow? Are the logical operators. Have logical operators, and these ones are used to compare logic. They are just three. We have and, we have or. Which one else? Is there any other? I know there is XOR and there's XNOR and all those kinds of stuff. Eh? Yes, but for now, let's just focus on these three. So these are the three logical operators mostly you find in PHP. So what these operators do, basically they allow you to take two values, compare them, and of course there is what we call a truth table. If I'm using and, It means that the things that I'm comparing, all of them should be able to return true for that value to be true. But when I'm looking at OR, if either of the values returns true, then the whole result becomes true. And of course, not is simply the opposite. It negates the particular values that we are dealing with. Okay. So let me just give us an example. Let's take uh, let's take a number, and we want to check if these numbers are either how do I say so well, let me check if a variable is greater than 3 or is less than 5. Yeah, so I want to take a variable, assign it a value, then I want to check if it is between 3 and 5. Okay, so I'll simply say take a variable here called y, and maybe give it a value, say 10. Then we might want to do a comparison down here. So I'll just mask these ones. I mean, these ones are very simple examples. We're just learning how the structure is, so probably we'll use them in future. Don't think it's a big deal. Once I have them there and you follow the video, you should be able to get your way around it. So here I could simply say let answer. Let is not a PHP thing. It's a JavaScript thing. It's just that I'm used to writing so much JavaScript, so I'm trying to imagine that the that the logic will be able to flow on this side. So answer would be I want to check if, and now if you are using and, not, or, um, well, you might not use all of them. So I can say y is less than 3 or y is greater than 3. Now, how we write and in PHP is double ampersand like that. We don't write this. And by the way, I don't know if the current versions of PHP allows me to write that, but I doubt it should. So the standard should be that, just like JavaScript, okay? Y is less than 10. This is variable y, okay? So if these two conditions are true, then I'll simply say yes. Others I'll say no. So I can put here echo, and I'll say y is less than greater than 3, greater than 3, and less than 10, isn't it? So that should give me yes or no. So I'll run that, and you can see why. Oh, sorry, I didn't output the value, and then I should put the answer here like that. So you can see it's not. So 10 is greater than 3, but 10 is not less than 10. But if I went ahead and said here, I'm talking about 9 or even 8, then it should return true because 8 is greater than 3 and 8 is less than 10. Okay? So that is yes. So that's how we use the AND operator. So we have two conditions over here. We have the first condition and the second condition. Then I'm combining these two results together. So from there, I'm able to get a yes or a no. Okay? And I can use or, by the way, or you replace with the pipe symbol like that. Two pipe symbols. That is or. Okay? So for or, it will always return yes because so long as the condition is either 3 or 10. So the only time that condition will return no if either of these is not met. So if, for example, if I say y is 20, then it will return no because y is greater than 3, no. Y is less than 10, no. So in that particular scenario, it will actually give me a no. Okay? Okay, so that should, I believe that should give me Yes, 20 is greater than 3. Actually, this should be or. Oh, so actually, it will always give me. It will always give me because 20. This condition will always be met, unless I say negative. But even if I say negative, it will be less than 10. This condition will always be true. So this condition will always be true. Okay. So if I'm using or, then this condition will always be true. Now, how do we use not? Not is basically one pipe symbol and an equal to sign. So is not. So y is greater than 3 and not less than 10. Okay? So actually, not, we don't use that. We simply, I can use and here. So this whole condition, I can cover it in bracket because that's ideally what we do. Then I put an exclamation back here. That exclamation means not. So and is double ampersand sign, or is double pipe symbol, and not is exclamation mark. Okay? So I'm saying not. If y is greater than 3 and y is less than 10, then make that one false. Okay? Jeru, I hope I'm not losing you. I'm saying I will evaluate this condition inside here, then I will negate the value because the value usually returns true or false. Okay, so I'll just negate that value before we now move on to something else. So I'm saying y is greater than 3, y is 20, that is true, and y is less than 10, that is false. So this internal value will give me false, but if I put not here, then the false will be inversed to true. So if it is true, then I should be able to see a y. Okay. Yes. So if I run that, you can see I still see a y. So that is not. So this is not, this is and or we use that. So those are the three logical operators that we use in PHP. And we will be playing with a lot of them when we are writing our logic. Okay? So I'll go back to my presentation. Then we have increment operators. So the fourth category is increment operators. Four is increment operators. So for increment operators, they are the ones that we use for either incrementing or increment slash decrement. So increment slash decrement operators. So when you want to increment, you use plus plus, and you want to decrement, you use minus minus. So, for example, I can say I want to count numbers from, I want to increment a number. I'll simply say my count is equals to 5. If I want to increment 5 by 1, I'll simply say count plus plus. Then what I will do here is, first of all, let me output the value of count before I increment it. So here I'll simply say um, echo the value. Now my keyboard has started misbehaving. The value of count is, now my S and my A sometimes are a problem. Nimwage. That would be unfortunate, okay? So the value of count, so I'll put the value of count before I increment, then I'll put the value of count after I increment, okay? So I should get 5 and 6, eh? So the value of count is 5 and the value of count is 6. So you can see here I've just incremented it. Now I can increment by, how do you increment by more than one? Mhm. If I want to increment by two, We've already done it like that. That increments it by 2. Yes. So that increments by 1. Now, if I wanted to decrement, then I'll do something like count minus minus. Actually, there's no space. You just say count minus minus. Then I can now output the value of count again. So it should go to 5, then 6, then 5 again, right? Yes. So we have 5, then 6, then 5 again. So that those are decrement operators. Then we also have what we call string operators. So string operators, or what we call concatenation operators, concatenation operators or operator. This is the one that we are using to join strings together. So what happens is this. I know in some programming languages, I can declare maybe say my name, first name rather. Now this, now my S is the problem. Okay. So now we are actually struggling with, okay, let me just say my fit name is Robert and my L name, nice woken up, and last name is De Niro. So when I want to to join the two names to get a full name, so I'll say full name will be, now the A's go a wall again. The full name will be, I'll put a double sign, I'll put here, not even a double sign, I'll put my first name, then I cannot do this as we did in JavaScript. That won't work. So I can echo last name, my full. So here, my full name is, then I simply say here, full name. So I can put here full name. I can't do this. I know this is allowed in other programming languages. You can join strings like this, but this is not allowed in PHP. So if I run this, you'll probably say it gives me an error. So you can see I'm trying to use a plus to add to strings, okay? So in PHP, you can't use the plus, you use a dot to concatenate the strings, like that. So dot is what you use to join multiple or to concatenate strings. So if I run that and have that, then you can see now my full name is Robert De Niro. Okay? And that one you should not forget because I'll tell you for free. I write PHP code every day and I make that exact same mistake over and over again, trying to join or trying to concatenate strings using a plus because that's what I'm used to in other programming languages. Okay, so just take it from me that moving forward, that is not going to work out. And by the way, that is basic concatenation operators. This thing now, concur, the A has refused to work. Surely, this keyboard, oh, I think I'll need to, I think I'll need to figure out how to fix it. So that will summarize our presentation today on what operators are. So those are the PHP operators that we have. So of course, moving forward, I want us to go ahead and look at control structures. But because we didn't have a large quorum today, I think I'll leave it at that and let the others look at these operators. Then we can be able to build up on the control structures tomorrow. Is that okay? Yeah, so I don't know. Let me try to find what kind of an assignment that I can be able to give you that you can be able to use with those particular operators. So I think I'll take a break from that. I'll share this in our YouTube channel. Then they can be able to follow it up from there. Okay. Enjoy your evening. You're welcome.